LARP can be quite a big and confusing hobby to get started in. So today I'm going to give you 9 tips that you should know before getting started in LARP that will make it just a bit easier. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, welcome in LARP. We're happy to have you. This also means that if you found a LARP that you want to go to, see if they have a group and join it, whether it's a Facebook, a Discord, or maybe they're still even using a forum. Just make a post and say, "Hi, I'm new here. I want to get started with LARP and your LARP is the first that I want to go to." All of us are happy to answer any questions. I mean, we all had to get started somewhere. By joining the group, this also means that you can get help with anything that you need. Whether it's I need some help writing my character, or more practical questions like, do I need to pack a pillow or cutlery for this LARP? There are no stupid questions. We all had to get started somewhere. And we're all happy to have you. I mean, all this means is
more souls for the LARP gods.
But really, just say hi. We don't bite. Second tip is also regarding stuff to do before the event. If you've written your character, send it to the game masters. They can either give you tips or tricks on how to better make your character fit in the world, or maybe the game masters say, you know what, your character would really fit well with this group of characters that we already have. That means that before the event you can already send a message to that group and say, "Hi, can we make some connections?" Because if you start the game and your character already has some connections, that will make your integration into the player group a lot easier. There are by now also quite a lot of LARPs that just work with pre-written characters specifically for this reason. So they can just give you a character and say, you already know these people. I've had it happen once now, and it just made my start into the game immediately. The drama got turned up to 100 because we already knew everyone. And that worked really well. In the same tip of writing characters, don't make your first character too overcomplicated. Even better, there is nothing wrong about playing yourself with just a few things changed. To clarify this, you can write your first character saying, "I am a big hero, I have done grand deeds for the past 20 years and the entire country knows of me." But then you walk into the LARP, and generally if you start a LARP as a new character, you can choose a few skills to get started with. And those few skills then generally don't match with your gigantic grand background. So it's going to be really difficult to play a well-known hero when you're just walking into a new LARP. This is not just for your first LARP, it's generally if you just start at a new LARP for you. This also means that when you go to a LARP, really look at the LARP that you're going to and write a character based on that LARP. You can't fit every single character into every single LARP. For example, you can't say, I'm going to play a vampire when the LARP doesn't have vampires in the world. That's just not possible. So what I generally do when I write my characters is I look at the LARP that I want to go to. I look at the skill sets that they have and the world that they're playing in. For example, I can look at a skill set and think, this crafting system looks really interesting. I want to play with that. So I'm going to play a crafter. Then I look at the world that they're playing in, and I can maybe see a tribe of people that looks really interesting. So I combine it. I play a crafter from that tribe of people. And that's already a simple character idea. That's plenty to get started with. So this tip in general, send your character to the game masters before the game so they can review it and maybe give you some tips. Don't make your first character too overcomplicated. And there's nothing wrong with just playing yourself and having a few things changed. The third tip is something that might seem common sense, but unfortunately it still goes wrong, and I really do not want this to go wrong. The tip is to not carry your LARP weapons openly in public, please. The thing with this is, as I said, it still occasionally goes wrong. There are still news articles about people getting arrested with toy weapons. We know they're LARP weapons. Other people from a distance of 10 meters, the general public, does not know they're LARP weapons. Especially if they're the latex coated, the fancy kind of weapons, or especially if they're Nerf guns. In countries like the Netherlands, where guns are not commonplace, people will think anything that slightly resembles a gun can be a real gun and will call the police. So please, stuff them in a general big bag and make sure it's shapeless. Or if you do not have a bag that can contain your LARP weapons, you can take a trash bag. Wrap your LARP weapons in it. But again, in such a way that people do not know that that trash bag contains a LARP weapon. Again, Similar option, grab a big piece of cloth and wrap your LARP weapon in it. Again, in such a way that people do not know it contains a LARP weapon. The tip might seem simple, but this is one of the things where 1 or 2 incidents can have a stain on the entire hobby, so please, we just want to prevent this. Carry LARP weapons in such a way that no one knows you're carrying a LARP weapon. The 4th tip is one for once we arrived at the event. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I know, it's easier said than done, but really, we're all there just to have a good time. And if you're not doing things because you're afraid to make mistakes, you're not going to have such a good time. So, the whole idea of LARP, live action roleplay, is that we're there, we're improvising the entire weekend. We don't have a script, we're just acting with what we've got. So if you make a mistake, we can improvise around it. Don't worry. Whether you're NPC'ing or playing, just go for it. We've all been there. We've all started LARP. We've all said something stupid that wasn't coherent with the world setting. I mean, you could even put it on your character not knowing everything that's going on, because, to be fair, no one is ever going to know everything that's going to go on. In that same vein, also don't be afraid to drop out of character to ask a question. Make the sign that you're going off game and ask the question, or walk to the game master and ask the question. If it's something that your character should know, the game master will always tell you. Just walk up to the game master and go, hey, I don't know, what's the name of the king again? I really should know this. The game master will tell you. Don't be afraid to ask that question. And again, we're all there to have a good time, and we can all improvise around everything. The next tip is another one for once we're actually at the event. Say yes to stupid ideas. It does need a bit of clarification though, because you shouldn't just blindly say yes to everything that comes your way. But if there is something that's suggested to you to do, and you think it would be a really stupid idea, but it would actually be fun to do, or this is going to cause drama that I would like to play with, say yes. Things like this can give you 10 minutes of play, or it can change your entire game. Go for it! I mean, if you would say no to everything, your play would be blocked. Say yes to things that seem fun to you and that you really want to do. And this also leads us to the next tip. Don't be afraid to say no to things you are not comfortable with. Whether they are physical things, mental things, themes you just don't want to play with, don't hesitate to say no, it is completely valid. Again, all of us are just there to have a good time, and if something is suggested to you that might make you think, this is going to be less of a good time, don't hesitate to say no. You don't need to give any reasons, just say no, walk away, do whatever. Or if you've already said yes to something and it turns into something that you don't like, also, don't hesitate to walk away, say you're not continuing with this, or do anything else. It is completely valid. LARP should be fun. The next tip is another one that might seem obvious, but most of us have forgotten at least once. Don't forget to eat, drink, and take breaks. LARPs can be a lot of fun. And if stuff is a lot of fun and you're running everywhere the entire day, you might have it happen that you think at 4 o'clock, I've only had my morning coffee. Maybe I should eat and drink something. Well, it's best to prevent that, especially if not drinking enough can lead to headaches and all that sort of stuff. That's going to make your game less fun. If the game calms down a bit, take it as an excuse to eat something, drink something, and sit down. If you are running everywhere the entire day and the game doesn't really calm down, do not hesitate again to say, guys, give me 2 minutes, I'm going to grab something to eat and drink. And if you're in a conversation where you're standing really long periods of time, don't hesitate to say, guys, I'm grabbing a chair, I'm sitting down for a bit. Or just sit down on the grass. Because breaks don't necessarily mean eating, drinking, also care for your body physically. And there is also nothing wrong with really taking a break. Grab a chair, sit down, just enjoy the atmosphere and see what everyone else is doing. Who knows, maybe the moment that you're sitting down and looking at everyone, you see someone doing something and think, I should ask them about that later, and it leads to more play. Or just enjoy other people doing idiotic things and screwing it up for themselves. Personally, I just really love the atmosphere of LARPs, and I take conscious moments to sit down on a chair and just enjoy what everyone else is doing and just enjoy being there. That's, again, completely valid. And if you're running around the entire day, have pockets. Put in a snack. That makes it a lot easier than having to walk back to wherever your food is stored to actually grab something. If you have it with you, you can just easily grab it and eat it. In the same manner, if you are at a location where it's not that easy to grab a drink, just make sure you've got a canister of water on you. Having stuff in easy reach will make you more likely to actually use it. So that is again a suggestion for something you can add to your costume. Tip 8. If you are not enjoying yourself, don't hesitate to tell it to the game masters and maybe other players. If you don't say anything, no one knows that you're not having a good time, and you can only say it afterwards, and then people can't change anything anymore. If you go up to a game master during the event and say, hey, I'm not having fun, I don't have anything to do, I'm only playing with things I don't like, game masters can change things. They can, for example, say, hey, maybe talk to that person, and that person can give you more play about stuff that you do like. So sometimes the game masters don't even need to do all that much, and just a slight nudge in a specific direction can make your game a lot more fun. And again, we're all there to LARP. We're all there just to have a good time, so say it if you're not having a good time. And the last tip, it sounds really stupid, but most of us don't really know what we're doing. We're all people there playing pretend, improvising the entire weekend. You might think people are amazing LARPers and they know so much, and I can tell you, even the people that you really look up to are often insecure and don't know what they're doing. They're just reacting to everything that's going on around them. Thing is, they've just done it slightly more often, so they might be able to pretend that they know what we're doing, but we really aren't. But again, most of us are there just to have a good time, and I hope that just mentioning that most of us don't know what we're doing is maybe going to help to take away some of your insecurities when you're just starting. And that was it, 9 tips that you should know before getting started in LARP. Maybe they were not entirely the tips that you were expecting, so let me know. Were they useful? And if you've LARPed more often, please put your own tips in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys wished you would have known before getting started in LARP. And with that, thank you all for watching. If you want to learn more about getting started with LARP, you might want to check out this video. And see you guys next time.